Episode 4 of the Earthwax podcast. What's up, y'all? I'm Taj.
I'm Jackson.
And we're joined here with a guest today, River, my boy. I've known him since freshman year of high school. How you been, River? How's life going?
Well, I've been hanging low, chilling,
Hell yeah. How's tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do for fun?
I got some hobbies, basically. I study some interesting topics.
Hell yeah.
Just for fun.
What topics are you most interested in, I guess, studying on your own time, not just necessarily school topics, even though I guess some of them are applicable to school from what I have seen.
Oh, yeah, well, I like reading some books, about, philosophy, all that good stuff, maybe some economics, some, I look into some history on the internet.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I always notice River's, educating himself, even when he doesn't have to. And I'm, kind of hoping that smartness rubs off on me a little bit. River's a pretty cool cat, you know what I mean?
I think if I stay around him enough, it might kind of seep.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what's, interesting to you, and, why do you decide that that's something you want to spend your time doing, I guess?
Ooh.
Versus, other hobbies that other people have? What draws you to adding more education, I guess? Is there a specific thing with learning that you enjoy, or?
I guess I'm just good at it for one, and will we ever really know what compels us to take an interest in something?
That's
kind of
true. Yeah.
But
just comes from within.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't know how it works, but it works, and it works out pretty good in my favor, Well, in school, I don't really like school too much. I don't really,
doesn't connect.
Yeah, it doesn't connect with me, man.
It doesn't. It's not the system that works for you, but
yeah.
To be able to still notice that, recognize that, and then move into another situation and go home and be like, okay, learning at school doesn't work for me that well, so I'm gonna kind of learn for myself and find my own way to educate myself on things that I'm interested in, and that are the things that are learned in schools, and I'm already interested in them, so I can then do that by myself. And
oh yeah,
the acquisition of knowledge
that's really true. If you're not a whole school person, you know what I mean. You can still be intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Grades definitely don't measure intelligence. That's what I see with my boy River here. I know you don't get straight A's, but this man is the biggest genius of our grade. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I feel only recently people have been realizing that grades aren't the only measure of intelligence. I think before, and especially when our parents were in school and stuff, it was very much okay, you got to get good grades, and that's the only way that you're smart, is if you know how to do the things in school and also how to follow the way school works with the specific structure of it. But I think recently people have noticed that you can still be smart, maybe it's just not a system that works for you.
Right.
And you can still not just be smart, but extremely so.
Yeah.
And you can still kind of use that education.
That's why Steve Jobs was man, fuck college.
So, a lot of people were.
Yeah.
It is always easy, though, because, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, they're all dropouts of college. So it's easy to just be oh, all these rich people are dropouts.
Yeah.
Not necessarily how it always works, though. It's easy to idealize.
Most dropouts that don't really make it too far.
And then also, it's not most rich people are dropouts either.
Right, yeah.
It's just easy to be oh, if they drop... It's a kind of an excuse for yourself to be oh, if they dropped out and they are succeeding, that's the reason they're succeeding. It's not because they're smart, it's because they dropped out. So if I drop out, I'll still succeed. Yeah. But it's definitely not
the right mentality.
And I don't know many people that would act on it necessarily, but I do think it is kind of an excuse, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think it's true. I don't know, the education that you can receive in college, depending on what you're looking for. If you're trying to start your own business and make some huge shit like those three people were, college, depending on what you're studying, might not necessarily be where you're trying to go, I guess, or it might not be helping you with your specific thing. But that doesn't really apply to a lot of people.
I think, I don't know, I might, I definitely see how it might not apply in all aspects, But I do think going to business school, while it might not help you start
sure,
your
yeah.
own business, well, which first of all, starting your own business is a super like broad
Fuck yeah.
term because
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways you can be a CEO, whether it is being an entrepreneur into a CEO, and then even as an entrepreneur, is it, you made some sort of product or like is it a physical good or all these different things. But I think business school is still helpful, maybe not necessarily for starting a business, but more so for continuing to manage that business.
That's true. Yeah.
And that company and being able to go into economics to manage the money and work with money well and things like that. So I do think there still is always value in those things, even if it's not like you're going in that specific job. But I also don't think that you have to go to college necessarily. But I don't think that it's I don't think there's any job that there wouldn't be at least some benefit from going to some other form of education, because at the end of the day, the acquisition of knowledge is always like
about like education and stuff. I think that the universities, it's entirely possible that people just might stop going to universities in like 50 years, because a lot of the education comes from online nowadays. With like you have things like Khan Academy. It's created by Sal Khan, and like he covers like a ton of subjects on there, and it's used by a lot of people worldwide. And I guess the whole idea of just college is, well, since like most people, or I don't know if most people, but a lot of people definitely, they go into a field that's not their major, and like that their college degree definitely didn't prepare them at all for like that.
For sure.
A lot of people end up just not using their degrees because
like my mom had like, I don't know, a degree in like biology or something, and like she's a computer programmer. Like,
so it's like, I mean, the math classes she probably had to take for biology help, but like regardless, I think in the future, I don't know how long in the future, I don't know how long this process will take. Probably depends on a lot of like political stuff too, but
so like college, it's college and high school, they're not trying to like, that's not a credit that measures like your qualifications for the knowledge of that job. That's businesses, they use that as a signal to like show that like you're committed or whatever.
That's very true. Yeah, we were talking about that on the last podcast, I believe, or the one before that. It
was one of them.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, not necessarily the actual subject that they're trying to measure. It's more so your ability to work in an environment like that.
Yeah.
But the problem is now that more jobs are rising where that isn't the only environment to work in, because schools are very much like a factory job almost. It's very much like clean cut. You sit like this, you do this, you just get your work done, you move on. You get your work done, you move on. It's very much like office job and factory job, which isn't really
that's like
all jobs anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how it was designed. That's how it was set up. Like I don't, like, a lot of people don't know this, but like back in when the public education system was first getting started, it was like some dude went over to Germany and he saw their education system, and he was like, oh, we should do that in America, because like in Germany it was basically like the Prussian kingdom was in control of everything, and like,
how was their education system different?
Oh, well, the thing is, like, the thing you got to understand about Prussia is, like, I think there's this famous quote from, I don't know, Voltaire or someone, that was like, most states have a military, but Prussia is a military that has a state, so it's very centered around the military, and everything, and education and stuff is like focused so that you'll obey the state.
Holy shit!
It's very much like you go to school to then be put into a position where you're going to be in a position where you've been used to getting these like orders and obeying, kind of. Yeah. By the way, the fact that you know that stuff is the reason why, like, that's something I admire about like your knowledge. It's just like you just pull that out of nowhere, and you know like these names, these locations, these times in history, how we adopted our education system, things like that.
Oh yeah.
I think college is going to end up being a lot cheaper over time.
Yeah.
Because the biggest reason why it's so expensive, at least from what I understand and think, is because people are willing to pay that.
for it, yep.
I mean,
But now that people don't want to go to college and they're like, I can just do a trade or do something else and still
Which
make
is
money.
in demand for sure.
Yep, and you
yeah.
can
sure.
still make good money doing all these
Yep.
jobs that don't require college, and there isn't this stigma where it's like, hey, go to college, it's the only way to make money.
yeah, the thing about
It's going to
college,
be cheaper. They're going to have to make it so that people want to go and don't see other things as more valuable, because right now it's like, why would you?
I mean, like, the thing about college, though, like, you'd think it would be cheaper just because, like, because, like, they're losing demand, but, like, that's, like, how you'd think about it, but, like, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, like, you don't know
Yeah.
the rules that they have to follow, or, like, the
For sure.
regulations or whatever, so, like, it's
I
entirely
mean, that's
possible.
why I think there's definitely a political element that would have to change for there to
Yeah.
be cheaper colleges as well.
Yeah.
But I think most things are going to kind of, I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's going to shift towards that direction where colleges
Like,
are at least going to
yeah.
get cheaper because they're super expensive and it's
Yeah.
not seen as a necessity anymore.
Some things are going to have to change, like,
Yeah.
but, like,
Who knows?
for any given, like, subject, there's, like, tens of thousands of laws that
Yep.
that go into that have
That
been
specific.
created for that specific thing just over the years. They just
Mhm.
pile up, but like that they don't even get passed by like a legislature. They like establish these bureaucracies to like come up with the regulations, and they invest the power of legislation into those, and they just churn out these things all the time. So like you don't know what's going on in the
Right,
works, because
right.
like
Yep.
That's true. Overregulation fucks shit up too. This isn't like really related to the conversation, but with the whole new like legal weed stuff, like it's a big thing with like the bureaucracy and the regulations around it. Like there's so many regulations around like needing to track like every stage from the plant's growth and like what you do to it exactly, and that's like a lot of money. And so it's pushing out smaller companies just because of all that bureaucracy and regulation. It's like smaller companies can't afford to regulate that hard. And it's the same thing with colleges. It's like, how the fuck are you going to start? It's all monopolized, you know what I mean? It's like all the big cats at the top who are rich, you're not going to get near them, you know what I mean? It's like that with a lot of industries.
It's like an unbreakable.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Like,
once they issue
definitely.
regulations, and same thing with big pharma. It's like you can't start a pharma company because there's so many regulations. It just fucks
like I
shit
think
up.
the big one with that is like the patent or the intellectual property. Like it literally just gives you a monopoly. Like some in some markets there's a natural monopoly, which is like something that'll just naturally tend to monopolize like something like I don't know what's a good example, but like something that it's very expensive to get started and just naturally, but then with I'd say probably most monopolies, they have like they have laws that support them because like they're the biggest in the game,
and
like
they lobby for that shit
like
too.
like everything can be bought, and like if you have the most money, you can buy the most laws, you know.
Yep. Take the glasses industry for example. Like they literally just like it started out like everyone had like glasses companies or whatever, and like Ray-Bans were like $20 like glasses and sunglasses and stuff like that. Then they got bought up, like all the glasses market got bought up, and I think it's like 90 or like 80% of the glasses market is controlled by like less than 2 companies. Or some shit like that, and it's like glasses now are like $120 for like an okay pair.
Terrible because people need to see.
That's what I'm saying. It's
like,
fucked up.
It's one of those things that you'd think should be affordable because, you know, some people, like, not like obviously need them, like you can go without them technically, but it's like, I think it'd be pretty useful to see. And the fact that a lot of people just can't afford them because they're stupid expensive for,
exactly.
You know.
Just like shit like that, man. Like monopolies fuck shit up, but it also like, I don't know. It's pretty cool for the people at the top.
Exactly.
Like, dude.
Like
Oh
it's
my
one
God.
thing in like being in a position where you're not at the top of a monopoly saying, "Hey, this sucks." But it's also like if you were at the top of the monopoly, it's like, this is kind of the greatest.
I mean, like the thing about monopolies is like they're not necessarily bad because like if the barriers to entry in the market are so low that you could just enter in, then the monopolies aren't going to abuse their power because they can easily have competitors of people who just drop in because it's so cheap to do so.
Yeah.
But then when a market is controlled by like one company or like a small group of companies, they fuck with the laws to like actually like prevent other competitors from coming into the market that just naturally would have come into the market anyways.
Yeah. That's why you know, like super PACs and shit. It's like that. Like the ways that like our presidents get elected is they basically they vouch for these companies. Like like, you know, big pharma companies will give them like, and if you don't know what big pharma is, it's basically like huge pharmaceutical industries who get a fuck ton of money off people who need things. Like, let's say insulin if you have diabetes.
If you have insulin or
it's like things people need to live. The pharmaceutical industry is just like taxing and making so much money off it because people need it. But they want to keep themselves in power and they want to keep that slimy shit like available and legal to do. So they give fucking millions upon millions of dollars to legislators just to be like, hey, protect us. You know what I mean? And that's why like big pharma companies lobbied against marijuana legalization and still are, just because it's like, you know, like opioid painkillers, the use is way down in Colorado, like because they've legalized weed. And it's like, to pharma companies, they're not getting any of that money. You know what I mean? They're losing money just because weed was legalized. So they're like, oh, hell no. You know?
But I think, isn't there some states that like they basically just gave like a one company the ability to produce marijuana or some shit like that?
No, there's shit like that. So every state has an individual plan for what their like legalization strategy is going to be. Yeah. Some states have
just like legalize it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Some states have like really heavy regulations, and they just kind of like want to hand it over to bigger companies to produce the marijuana and like kind of like have it like Starbucks basically. Yeah. Like one like, I don't know, just shit like that's fucked up. And I don't remember which state it was, but there's this one state that was trying to legalize weed, and the voters turned it down, not because they didn't want to legalize weed, but because the plan that the state had was so fucked up, and it wasn't allowing smaller companies to enter the market, which is like, everyone wants a slice of that dream, you know what I mean? To grow weed or whatever. That's like kind of like, I don't know, that's like a big thing of why people legalize weed, is because a lot of entrepreneurs are like, I want to get in this. But if you don't leave it to the entrepreneurs to do it, if you just leave it up to like a few companies, it's just fucked, you know? And like that's why they're legalizing weed in the first place, is because money, because taxes and stuff. They wouldn't do it other than that. Yeah. But
who gets a cut of the taxes though? Isn't it like a fixed? Don't politicians get like fixed salaries and stuff?
I'm not really sure, but what I do know is in Colorado, a lot of it goes to education, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So, yeah.
Especially because education doesn't really get the funding it needs.
Yep.
We have some budget cuts happening.
Yeah, heard about that.
I think it's non-teacher staff that's getting cut.
Yep, Minneapolis Public Schools is having a pretty big cut.
Well, it's actually specifically Washburn because we used to have a 7-period day, and we've essentially for the past few days, or past few years, we've been acting as if we still had a 7-period day because we have like 0 hour, you know, where some people take it, and still getting funding for a 7-period day, even though we're a 6-period school. But now they're like, okay, we're only going to give you the funding for the 6 periods, which I think regardless, like schools, it's still not enough money, but that's why we have to. That's I think what's being decided to be cut is non-teacher staff, which is
it's kind of fucked.
It's kind of fucked, and it's also like, because it's gonna lower like the security guards and stuff.
Yeah. Also, like, school isn't a place where a lot of people feel like really safe.
Exactly, and especially with all the shootings going on, it's like I want as much security as I can have.
Yep.
So the fact that they're lowering security, it's like
there's definitely gonna be some shenanigans next year.
No, I was talking
with less deans and stuff. There's gonna be some.
Yeah. It's gonna be some hooliganry.
Right.
For sure.
Because I mean, we already have problems just with kids, like
behavioral problems.
Right? Yeah, and it's like kids wander the halls, and kids are just like vaping and shit, like, which is like I mean, fighting. Shit. It's fucking whatever. But I don't know. It's not really a good idea for the school.
But like,
it's gonna be
so like I don't care if kids vape, but like if they're like just brawling and like making a scene outside my class while I'm trying to like do some
math?
do some
I'm
homework.
trying to do my math, and I
Like,
hear
bro.
like 16 freshmen
Yeah.
outside of my math class brawling.
Yeah.
That's when you know you have some sort of issue.
Or like when I'm just trying to walk through the hallway to get to my next class or get a drink of water or whatever.
And you have to like just go to a different drinking fountain because for some reason they've monopolized that singular drinking fountain and just taken it over completely, and it's now their land, their property, their business, and
Yeah, one thing I really don't like about just like school in general is it's very like clicked up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of just like little groups of people, and I feel like in middle school it didn't really used to
I thought
be as much
I
like
feel
that.
like even I think it's weird because with the middle school we went to, I actually think it's kind of the opposite, but kind of not. Where I
Yeah.
think there were very much more like defined specific like groups
Yeah.
of people you could
Yeah.
think of and like cliques at our
Right.
school, but the like all of the different groups still like talked because there were
Exactly,
only so
and
many
that's
of
that's
us.
the thing.
Now,
Everyone
though, I
everyone
feel like-
talked.
I feel like there aren't really like cliques as much as just there's so many people
Mm-hmm.
that everyone's talking, or like they have like a few friends that they always
Yeah.
talk to and they talk to other people. But I don't
Yeah.
feel like it's that thing where it's like there's this specific group that you can think of where it's like, oh, these people all have like this in common and it's like this type of group, and like,
Well,
and you can almost like name
For example, the sports kids.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a whole group of kids who just only like talk to each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends what sport, but like
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
There's,
I mean,
there's
I
a lot
feel
of like
like
I have a
it's-
class who has like in like there's just a corner of the room where it's all like white kids who play sports. That's not my folks. Like I can't that's not my type of people. Like I
Yeah.
can't even like strike up a conversation with those people. You know, they're very like I guess I'm closed-minded too.
I think it's.
you know,
I
but-
think even with that situation, it's less that those people are hard to approach overall, or like people that you wouldn't talk to because they have like a closed clique,
Mhm.
as much as just they're people that you aren't interested in
Yeah,
talking to.
that's true.
Sometimes you just can't relate to certain people.
That's
And
very
like,
true,
I mean,
yeah.
on one hand though, you are kind of taking a group of people
Mhm.
and putting it all under one umbrella.
Mhm,
But
that's
also on the other hand, like it makes sense. There's so many kids at school, you got to
Yeah.
pick your battles. But I think I don't think it's as much that clique is like unbreakable, because I've definitely like I've talked to some people that are in these different groups, and even if I don't like become a part of that entire group or anything, because I don't really find myself in a part of any specific like group because I don't
Yeah.
have many
which is
like,
good.
school-based
It's a good thing,
hobbies,
yeah.
but I just kind of like talk to whoever.
Yeah.
And I think I try and do things more based on the person rather than the group they're a part of, and worrying about that. But if there is like a group of people that seems kind of like they're closed in, obviously it's going to be hard to approach that or
Mhm.
infiltrate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. That's
But
true.
I'm not too sure. I think,
Yeah.
but I do think like at our middle school it was very much. There were like defined groups that like
That's
you
true.
could like name.
That's
like,
very true.
the
Yeah.
type of human being
Yeah,
that was
that's
in
true.
that group.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is,
But like we
we
were all
still
friends.
talked,
But that's
exactly
because there
right,
was like
yeah.
what 170 of us maybe,
yeah,
or
That's
some,
true.
yeah, something like that. Probably like 170.
There's a lot of
180
cool
kids.
folks at Washburn, you know.
that's very true. Yeah.
Washburn's a weird place, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I'm not sure how much I like Washburn out of high schools, but I'm just not a huge fan of school as of late.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel that.
and not like necessarily because it's too hard or too much work. Just kind of like overall, I feel like it's not what I would want to be doing with my time, if anything. But also to do anything after it,
yeah.
I want to have those doors open in a way.
Yeah. That's true.
So I want to leave those opportunities open, so I'm not just going to drop out.
Well, I will say this. Well, for River, if you don't, let's say you don't enjoy school, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't have school, like if school was just canceled for the rest of your time, what would you be doing?
I'd be probably getting a job, you know,
Hell
employment, like
Yeah.
maybe like reading up some more on
Hell yeah.
the important
Hell yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Because I personally, man, I don't know what the fuck. I
here's
would
the
do.
thing, though, is
Yeah.
you're very much like a social person. You're
Yeah.
a huge extrovert. You like to talk to everybody.
Mhm.
I'm not.
Yeah, I feel
I'm
that.
very much
I
like
feel
an
that.
introvert.
Yeah.
I love when I like am sick
Very
or
true.
like I don't have to go to school.
Yeah.
I love snow days. I like just like sitting in my room. And even then I'm
That's
talking.
true. That's like
Yeah.
the different types of people like
Exactly.
different things.
And even
yeah.
then, like, I'm talking
Yeah.
to friends, like, online, or I'll hang out with, like, close friends of mine, and I still have those friends. Like, yeah, sure, without school I wouldn't have met them. And I, like, definitely appreciate school, and I appreciate the social part of it. But I think I definitely could be completely fine if I had no school anymore. I'm not going to. Because I still do want to try and, meet more people, build more relationships,
right.
kind of get out of my comfort zone, and then also, like, I want to have those options open for the future. Because I've been thinking a lot about what to do in the future, because it's kind of approaching.
Right.
I'm trying to... The biggest thing that I'm thinking of right now is, because I don't know what I want to do specifically, I just want to leave the option to do as much as I can open, so that once I decide, I can do what I want based on those options, and I can, or at least have as much going for it as possible. So whether it's like I want to go to college, the money's a problem, so I want to try and get the best grades I can and do the best academically, so that I can get certain scholarships for that to help pay for that.
Scholarships are great, man. Like, it's kind of why I wish I picked up a sport.
Me too.
Just because, like, I don't know.
I also just wish I'd picked
crazy.
up, like, a sport or something, because it just looks better, and it's also something that's, like, healthy and helpful.
Like, I love playing basketball. Like, I'm not the best at it, but, like, I don't know, like, I've kind of been getting better over, like, the past year or so, and, like, I don't know, man, I think if I tried out for the basketball team, I don't know if I would, I don't think I would get on the team, but, like, just, like...
it's still fun, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could, I don't know how it works, but, like, you could be on, like, the bench, I don't know.
Just be on the...
Hell yeah.
I think you should try
or,
it.
like, during the games, but, like...
I think I don't know if basketballs are... I don't know anything
but,
about
like,
these sports.
Yeah,
but if basketball starts, or, like, it hasn't started yet, you should try out, or if it's already ended, try out next year.
Yeah.
If you're interested, because what's the worst that happens?
Like, even if you get benched, you can still, like, play some basketball at practice, right? And then get better at it.
And you still get to improve, and then even if you don't, like, even get onto the team, there's no harm there. It's not like you necessarily have to weigh your whole life on joining the high school basketball team.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would be, like, a good basketballer if I kind of knew how to do it, because, like, I'm, like, 6'1", 6'2", or whatever, I don't know.
Hell yeah.
I haven't measured in a minute, but, like, somewhere around there, man. I can put the shots in,
I don't know. So, I don't know. I think you should definitely, just...
Yeah, it's about getting out of your comfort zone, too, like, just doing things that, like, I don't know if you want to do it, but you're like, I don't know. Just go for it. Like,
Like, there's literally, like, there's nothing to lose in most...
Exactly.
Like, in most situations, I guess. There might be a situation where there's something to lose, but I wouldn't say focus on, like, a social image loss, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you don't need none of that.
Sacrificing, like, your social image. Because,
don't give a fuck about what other people think about you.
Yeah, I think overall it's kind of good to just not worry too much about that, because if you're relying on people caring about what you look like to be your friends, they're not good.
We like ourselves more than other people, and yet we care more about their opinions than our own.
That's fucking facts.
That's not my original quote.
Yeah, but still, no, that is definitely
plagiarism.
Facts. Yeah.
I mean, not plagiarism, it's just quoting something.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fact. No, it's not plagiarism.
But shit, that's very true, yeah.
Especially because you get criticism.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's important to... I mean, obviously you want to care to some extent, because first impressions are important in careers.
Yeah.
And things like that are important, but it's like, if you're becoming anxious because you think your high school friends will hate you if something happens that changes, then I don't know if they were your friends in the first place.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I feel
just gotta
like...
do what you do.
Because, like, with you guys, I'm sure that, like, anything that would happen,
Yeah.
like, you're not going to hate me because,
Yeah.
like, I dressed differently.
Right, no,
or
if you shaved your head, I'd be like, hey, it's
Yeah,
Jackson
exactly.
with a shaved head. Like,
It's like, because
Yeah.
I know
sick.
you guys actually,
I would be
like,
pissed that you didn't
Yeah.
get the monk cut though. Like if you
Yeah.
shaved your entire head, like not just like the
the
middle.
halo.
Yo,
Yeah, bro.
Halo, right?
That'd be
yeah.
hilarious.
But, yeah, I
yeah,
think-
very true. There's
yeah.
definitely, like, I feel like there's, I don't want to be, like, like, mean, but this is definitely true. There's kind of, like, temporary friends who aren't really going to stick around for your whole life. And then there's, like, the homies, you know what I mean?
There's friends that like, they care about who you are.
Exactly.
And
right,
they're going to
right.
be there
Yep.
whatever happens.
Mhm.
Or as
Oh,
much
yeah.
as they can be emotionally available,
Right.
I guess.
Yep.
And people that you really have, like, a bond with, I guess.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's important to kind of at least notice that.
Yeah.
And then maybe realize, I don't know if I should care what these people think as much.
Yeah.
It's not like that easy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think no matter what, people are going to struggle with,
Yeah.
anything. And I think everything that, like, we talk about for the most part in all these podcast episodes, we're talking about them partially because we're all working on them
Yeah,
to some extent.
exactly, yeah.
Like, we're all trying to move forward with
Yeah.
these strategies, and it's kind of just things that we're learning along the way.
Right.
We're trying to share
Right.
that.
Yeah, that's why, like, I've
learning
listened
conversation.
to podcast episode 3 like a couple times back, not the entire thing, but like I'll just kind of like skim
Yep.
through it sometimes, and I'll always like hear things like again, and I'll be like, oh yeah, like I've been thinking about that. Like, I don't know, like if you, I don't know, you just kind of like think about things subconsciously, like when you hear them, you know what I mean? When we talk about like goal setting strategies and stuff like that, and it's like going out and just doing things when you want to do them, it's like that stuff kind of like gets in your head a little bit in a good way, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I've been like I listen to the podcast just because like even I learn from it, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know, I try to practice.
I even like
when I
learn
preach.
like here, I learn about you guys. I learn about like
Exactly.
myself.
Yeah.
Right.
I learn a kind of strategies that I'm going to take forward.
Yeah.
And I think of things that I might use, and then I also, it's just kind of a conversation that we
Right.
can, maybe have other people involved in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like if we're stressed about the future, we talk about it, and conversation is our coping mechanism for that. Instead of shutting down and worrying about it, we're talking about it.
Gotta
And we're discussing.
conversationalize.
Exactly. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to, I guess, figure those things out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've always, for me, this
yeah.
whole like podcast experience has definitely been like a tool to help me.
Yeah. For sure.
First of all, have a hobby and have fun and hang
Yep.
out with my friend, but it's
Yep.
also an interesting new thing. And then also, I've been learning from it, and I have been able to share some things that I've learned aside from it, and how I'm going to kind of apply those to my life, and how I think they might be helpful, depending on the situation you might be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I like when we talk about like, like strategies to like kind of help yourself. Do you have any like things to like any wisdom about like motivation or like goal setting or anything like that you can think of off the
First
top
of all,
your
do you
head?
have any goals?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good way to like go start with that. Like,
Well, there's goals. Well, number one is career.
Hell yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you gotta have a career, basically in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But do you have any like personal goals like with like
or even with a career goal, like
Yeah.
how do you plan on, I guess, achieving that? Just like what kind of goals do you have, and how do you plan to achieve them or reach them, or what kind of strategies do you use to even help you make those goals in the first place?
Right.
Well, like I do have some goals like more sooner than career, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of related to career. I mean, like I'm like. I think it was last year, like I published some kind of article in like the Star Tribune
Hell
about like
yeah.
it was like an opinion, like I wrote it in, and like I don't know, but like I wanna do that, but like more like intellectual kind of stuff,
on
like
a larger scale?
yeah, like the newspaper is like that's like retail opinions, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Hell
like
yeah.
and plus it's like you it's a very small word limit. Like I want to be like thinking
Verbose.
like I want to be thinking of new ideas, man.
Yeah.
Like and like thinking of like some original ideas, writing it down, publishing it, doing some like scientific
Hell yeah.
work or whatever.
Yeah.
And like
That's true. You can't keep yourself limited with like a word limit of a newspaper or whatever.
Yeah, bro.
Fuck
that.
Start a blog. Fuck it, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
limitations in general, man.
Yeah.
So like to achieve that, I guess I'm like, I've been reading a lot, just in the past few months, like I read some books,
Hell yeah.
and
The Prince.
oh yeah,
We read that.
we read that.
That was a good one.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think about like for me, it's like the type of science that I've been researching, so as to like find some answers to like some synthesize some new ideas. It's basically like I guess social science, and I guess I've just been I've been trying to figure out some stuff with that, and like a bunch of stuff related to that.
Yeah. I know you've read a lot about philosophy too, which I think is cool.
Oh yeah.
I have a question about the whole science and synthesizing these new ideas and answering these questions or what have you. I wonder, do you think the reason that you're interested in obviously synthesizing these answers and doing this science, do you think it's because you have so many questions that you want to answer and there aren't necessarily answers, so you're trying to find them yourself?
Yeah. I do have questions that I would like to find and that haven't really been found before, and like the social sciences, like let's be real, that's kind of more easy to figure out, like like my theory is that like say mathematicians and like physicists and stuff, they're really smart people, they got like 160 IQs and shit, but like only a few of them like stand out, and the rest of those people are like really fucking geniuses, but like they don't do anything significant in their life, because like those fields are just so hard and out there, like but like if you took one of the like mediocre people from one of those fields and put them in something like, I don't know, sociology or whatever, they would be like they would just be,
they would come up with some revolutionary shit.
Yeah, revolutionary ideas. Like
it definitely is true that a lot of mathematicians, even like the super important ones in history, people don't even like know who they are. Because like when you think about mathematicians, you think about like Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, and Benjamin Franklin, right?
Mr. Pythagorean.
But like even like Pythagoras,
yeah,
super important, not just for math but music.
Yeah.
But then even on top of that, like people always know about Newton, but then the other inventor of calculus, Leibniz, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have no idea who that is, despite them being a crucial part.
And of course, Usain Bolt.
Yeah, Usain
Bolt. Well, people know about Usain Bolt.
They know about Usain Bolt, but they don't know about his involvement in calculus.
Right.
People just like don't know these famous mathematician like names because
like
they're not really
like Tarski.
Yeah, like I don't even know who the fuck Tarski is.
Shafarevich.
So what? Like, are you saying that you want to find something to set you apart from
Well,
other...
that's not exactly like what I'm saying is that like the social sciences are a little bit easier, and like I can already kind of see some solutions that I might be able to work out.
Right. Yeah.
But like I would just need to do a little more research.
Yeah. But it's not things that take like...
You also work on those other things and get maybe fundings for those things and stuff.
Oh yeah. And man, I could like...
That's sick, yeah.
I feel like you could sit just like, or just more so pace around in a circle, just like all day. But yeah, I could just, see you just coming up with new ideas.
Right.
Just overall kind of just sitting there learning, educating yourself and others with your ideas.
Yeah.
Of
Also,
all sorts of
I really dig like the kind of like, I don't know, not necessarily like theoretical sciences. But
that's for me. Like theoretical sciences are what I'm way more interested in. The problem is you need to know the practical to get to that point.
That's true.
So for me, like the part of physics that I'm interested in is I love and the reason why physics is my favorite over chemistry and other things is I love theoretical physics specifically.
Yeah.
Because it's super interesting to me. The problem is you need to still know base physics and mathematics to get into that.
Yeah.
Which is still interesting stuff to me. But that's something I'm super
There's a lot of nutty stuff going on in physics.
Dude, physics is crazy, dude.
The pea brain. Tell them about the pea
The
brain.
pea brain, dude. It's a black hole, but it's like it's hard to explain because I watched like one YouTube video where they talked about it. I'm gonna be honest.
Hey, but you're educating yourself.
Hey, I watch all sorts of science YouTube videos, but it's essentially if you think about a black hole as a point on a graph, a pea brain is just like a plane of a graph, so like it would be like a square of black holeage. Super interesting stuff, and they call it a pea brain because I think p is one of the variables they use for the equation of like defining black holes.
No, what's the real reason though?
Well, that's why the reason why they use in a brain like a membrane thing, but the reason is because physicists are like funny. They think they're little jokesters. So they call it a pea brain, but.
No, when I was a little kid, I always like wanted to be a scientist because I think the whole thing about
an inventor.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But I think the whole thing about like setting experiments and drawing conclusions from experiments, I really like that shit. Like I don't know. Like I know we joke a lot about feeding LSD to a goldfish and seeing what would happen, but like I don't know, it just not that, but you know, like stuff like that. You
just
know
like
what I mean?
stupid
Having a
things
control variable and
seeing
like stuff like
what,
that.
Yeah,
and like even like you know like science fairs. It's like seeing if plants respond to music. Shit like that is actually kind of cool. You know what I mean? Even if it's on a small scale and it's just like a cool little experiment. Like just I don't know. I like that type of shit.
Oh yeah, dude. Science it's all about figuring out the cheat codes to life.
It's all about math.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like the physicists, they're like particles. Oh, we can get a shit ton of energy if we do this.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yep.
No, shit's fucking sick. The cheat codes to life. For
Yeah.
sure, that's what happens when you give an animal brains and opposable thumbs, bro. Shit's crazy.
Bro, we're monkeys.
We're monkeys, but like better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been super interested in physics as like an option. Even like my biggest thing that I've been talking about. I think probably every episode now I bring it up in one way or another, multiple times. But obviously post high school for me. And one of the problems I've noticed is I'm interested in so many different things that it's less that it's like, oh, I need to find something I want to do, and it's more that I need to pick what I want to specifically do, rather than just kind of like picking one because like it pays better, but like they're all interesting to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Facts. No, because like I don't know. I definitely have like a lot of hobbies that like really intrigue me. And like you said, it's all about picking them. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I just like there's a lot of shit going on in my brain. You know what I mean? It's like I want to be a scientist. I would also like to be a therapist because I like helping people with their problems and I like talking to people. You know what I mean? But the thing is with that is just like the barrier for me is school.
Yeah.
Which is also something that I'm working on is like not letting myself have those barriers, you know, being more open-minded, you know what I mean? Because it's like, if I want to do something, I should do like whatever I need to do to
do
get
whatever
there.
it takes to get there, despite you might suck doing it, but after you got another...
Right, because if you're working for your whole life, shit, to be honest, I don't give a fuck if I'm not making, you know, a good amount of money, because it's like, I didn't grow up with that much money. I was fucking fine. I was happy, you know what I mean? Like, I got, like, the basic things that I, like, wanted, you know? So it's, like, that's kind of what's important. Like, if you just, like, you don't have to live rich. You just gotta live nice. And you gotta
live
like
happy
what you're doing.
And content.
Right.
Like, content financially, and then happy in any other way you can. And money isn't going to get you that happiness.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I've been, like, conditioned to lately is, like, ever since I got a job... for the first time, it's like I just like money means so much to me, and it's like, oh, I just want to make money. I want to like, you know, like so I can like do this, blah blah blah, and so I can make more money. And it's like, does money bring me happiness? Yes. However, temporarily, and that's the thing is like, it's never worth it. You know, it's never worth it to sacrifice living for money and material things.
Yeah.
It's just fucking stupid.
You're supposed to get money so you can live, not the other way around.
Exactly. That, you know what? That's very fucking true. Living comes first, you know what I mean? Having fun, making sure you're good mentally and all that, like, I don't know. Like, I just bought a whiteboard. You know what I mean? It's like I invested in my mental health just to be able to stay organized and, like, plan and, like, have goals and shit like that. I could have spent that money on, like, food whatever the fuck. Exactly. Food, like, I don't know. If you were a kid who smokes weed, could have spent it on weed instead, but it's like, no. Like, invest in yourself, I guess.
Yeah, there's all sorts of different... Yeah, it's about picking what you want to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I feel like things like that are a more long-term investment,
It's like books, too.
Yep. I mean, like...
Brings you knowledge.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
There's always things that I think of. It's not just about finding something that's going to make you happy or content in that singular moment, but it's about investing in something that's going to get you the most time as well and longevity and the most out of it. Yeah. So getting that whiteboard will help you organize yourself, and it's one of those things that's going to help your mental health and your mental organization stuff. So being able to build those skills, that's a skill that you'll use for the rest of your life. Yeah. Or getting books and learning new things, those are things you'll know for the rest of your life. And it's a one-time purchase that'll get you an infinite amount of use, essentially.
That's true, yeah. Also, it leads you, I don't know, it leads you to do that more, you know what I mean? It's kind of like it's dipping your toes in the water of, like, improving yourself, you know what I mean? It's like, you can take that one step to think, you know what? Instead of buying weed today, or instead of buying food today, instead of, like, buying cigarettes or whatever the fuck, whatever's your thing, whatever you spend your money on, if you take that one step to just be like, video games, it's like you take that one step to say, you know what, fuck these vices, I'm going to help myself. That is going to be, like, worth infinity times more than whatever you're going to get. You know, changing your lifestyle with, like, $10 can lead to, like, you just constantly trying to improve yourself, which, shit, man, that's what it's about.
It's like a snowball going down a hill. Once you start improving yourself, it just goes like, zoop.
Hell yeah.
Goes up.
And,
it's exponential, man.
Right. I recently had a teacher a teacher from my middle school who I ate dinner with. And she was telling me about how she moved to a new school to teach. And, you would think after teaching for, like 40 some odd years, like, that you would know everything there is, and that's what she was saying. She was like, when I was ready to leave the school, I thought, you know what, I've learned all that I needed to learn, and she's a very intellectual person. Like, she journals a lot and, like, just kind of reflects on life a lot, which is very important to do, as we were speaking of in, like, the first and third episode. And what she was saying is when she moved to the new school, it gave her a whole new purpose for work and for teaching, because she, like, found out that, I'm never going to stop learning. I'm never going to stop improving myself. And that's the thing that's really cool about life is, like, if you can never get too comfortable, you always have to step outside your comfort zone because there's always more to learn. I think that shit's awesome.
Which even works in, like, some people, not necessarily like a negative way, but the way people see money is that it's the be-all, end-all. And if you have enough money, you don't have to worry about it. You won't have to worry about money. You're fine, you're happy, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is once you get to that point of, let's say, you're making like $1 million a year, a lot of money, you're just going to adapt to that new standard of living, and you're still going to want more money because it's still just your new standard and your new normal. It's not like you're going to feel rich when you're rich because it's just normal for you. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think once you get to a certain number, you'd think, I don't know, but like you'd think that when you're the richest person in the world, constantly being reminded of that, you might be in a situation where you feel rich, but
like I think big CEOs and billionaires, they probably think of making money more as like a board game.
Yeah.
Than like
I think it's more of a like I think it's less about the money, and that's more of just a byproduct of it, and that's probably something most of them have in common. Yeah. I think it's an interest that they had that made them money, and it just happened to work out that way. But I think
it's an addiction, man.
Like, but even like and the thing is that's what people like that want to do these things. They think about the money exclusively. But when I think a lot of the people that have succeeded in that position, I think Bill Gates probably, and Mark Zuckerberg and all of those people, it didn't necessarily start as a way to make money as much as something they enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
and then it made the money, I think they would
Yeah.
still be doing those things even if they weren't making money.
Yeah.
Because it's still something they would be
But like,
interested in.
I feel like I don't know. Also, people think like, oh, financial security is gonna make me happy. You know what I mean? It's like,
It's definitely
oh, like,
nice, but it's definitely
Right.
not happiness.
Yeah, money is never the key to happiness. You know, and like you were saying, like how you get used to your financial
Yeah.
standing. It's like, think about people who are tall. Let's say, you know, you're going through a growth spurt and you start to get taller. You don't notice you're getting taller.
Yeah.
And let's say you get to be, you know, 6 foot, but then you have a friend who's 6'5". You know, you're gonna look at them and be like, damn, I wish I was 6'5".
Or like
Right.
they
Even
have-
though you're like fine with being 6 foot, it's like you completely forget about what's under you and you only focus on what's above. When you're so used to focusing on only climbing up and up and up, you're not gonna look at what's below you and think, I have all of this. You're gonna
Right.
think, I need all of this.
Yeah.
It's about focusing on what's below you or focusing on what's above you.
Yeah.
I think
like-
I think in general, I think balance is a key in a lot of things in life, and like that, I think it's about looking at both
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
exactly.
saying, "Hey, I want to appreciate everything I have, but I still want to strive to better myself
Almost
Yeah.
definitely.
and be better and improve. So I want to look at what I can achieve and move towards that, but I don't want
Yeah.
to focus exclusively on that."
Like, I think part of the key to being happy is just being in the moment.
Yeah.
So you can look and hear and appreciate the things
Mm-hmm.
that are going on around you, because you could hit like a spot where your life goes downhill
Yeah.
and you look back on the times
Yeah.
that you weren't paying attention and you're like, man,
Yeah.
those are some good times.
Yeah,
Yep.
nah, dude, that shit hit me hard, man. Like, I was at like a peak in like freshman year just with like my mental health and like my friends and all that, and like all my support that I had around me. And then like slowly, like a lot of people just kind of started like disappearing out of my life and like my school and stuff like that. And it wasn't like out of any certain like reason, but it just kind of like slowly
Yep.
happened. You know what I mean? Like some friends
Especially
moved
'cause-
away, like
yeah,
stuff like that. And it's like I would be like kind of down and I would just think like, holy fuck, I really took all that for granted and I was only focused on, I remember thinking of life like a graph. I was thinking, man, this shit's getting so much better and it's only gonna get better from here. But no, you know what I mean? I feel like I
you
reached
got
my
the
peak
parabola, bro.
and I went down. Exactly. Like, so it's like, and I look back on those times and I think, man, I was having a really good time, but I wasn't focused on the fact that I was having a good
you were
time.
focused on how can I have a better time. or-
Exactly.
Yeah, like
That's
we're
the
we're
thing.
all in our heads all the time. We got to
Mhm.
get out of our heads,
Yeah.
like out for a good amount of time
Yeah.
each day, so we can
Yeah.
notice what's going on. Like I walked to school today. It was pretty cold. It was
Yeah.
like in the 20s,
Yep.
but like I was paying attention to like I was walking along the creek. It was some nice nature. The birds were chirping, and I was cold, but like I could appreciate the birds, and I was like,
Hell
man,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, even
Appreciate what
sometimes
you
like
got,
when I
yeah.
walk to or from school, I try to like sometimes just not listen to music or
Mhm.
just like not listen to something and
Oh,
just
yeah.
like experience everything and just like
Yep.
notice everything
Yeah.
and appreciate everything. I also hate the fact that we're in Minnesota, so when he said it was kind of cold, it was 20. I was like, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
But it's
That's-
20
it's
degrees.
20
It's
degrees,
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
like
didn't have a jacket either. It was,
yeah,
Yeah,
but
sure.
it's actually crazy that that's
Yeah.
the way I thought about 20-degree
Yeah.
weather being in Minnesota. I was like, it's not
That's the
that
thing. It's
bad.
all about perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's that thing where before winter starts, when
Yeah.
it's kind of warm and it's getting colder, it feels colder a lot sooner.
Yeah.
But when it's been cold and then it's getting warm, you felt warm.
Yeah.
Like let's say 20 degrees the first time it hits, that's cold. Like once
Yeah.
it gets down to 20. But once you're going from 20 up, that 20 is fine, and then it's
Yeah.
just like getting better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, and also with the looking at like what you have
Mm-hmm.
and then like focusing on the future, like I don't know, like when it's really warm in summer, you don't think it's so warm. You think it's hot as fuck. You know what I mean? And
Right.
then like in the winter, you're just like, or like I don't know. Sometimes in the summer, I'm like, man, wish I could build a fucking snowman.
Yeah.
You know? And
You're
then
always,
like
you're always thinking about the season that it's not and the
Mhm.
benefits of that and
Yeah.
not the negatives.
exactly
Like when it's summer,
Yeah.
you think about the benefits of winter,
Yeah.
and then winter.
Like
you think
Rivers
about-
said, like we're always in our own heads about shit. Like we're always, I don't know, we're always focused on some other shit. And like I think meditation is super important. It's a thing that I'm trying to
Oh,
like
yeah.
input in or put into my life more. But like even the other day, like I just remember I was like, man, fuck my phone. Like, my phone is stupid. And I just, like, put it somewhere that was really, like, away from me, in a different room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just, like, sat on my bed and started thinking. And I was just, like, I just started breathing, kind of, like, meditating. Just, like, breathing, like, taking deep breaths and stuff. And I was just thinking, like, you know, I'm sitting here in a bed in my room that's warm, breathing. You know, I am alive. I get to breathe. You know what I mean? Like, just that was, like, such a liberty. And I just saw it as such a liberty because I was focused on it. And then I smelled dinner, like, from downstairs. And I was like, damn. I am in a place where I have food, a warm house, a roof over my head, lights, everything that I could possibly want. You know what I mean? Not everything I could possibly
Everything
want,
you
but it's like,
possibly
at
need.
that moment, everything
And
I could
more.
possibly need. Exactly, and more. And I was thinking, like, damn. And I was just, like, walking. I was like, man, my feet are touching the ground right now. It's just, like, taking moments like that to just appreciate what you have instead of looking at what you need. That shit's awesome.
And, like,
Yeah.
another big part of being happy is, like, well, a lot of people, like, they think they have depression, and, like, they might be depressed, but, like,
Yeah.
not clinical depression.
That's
because,
true.
like,
Yep.
they're just going through a really bad
Right.
situation.
Little,
Yeah.
little depression
And so, like,
spurt.
if
Yeah.
you don't fix that situation, antidepressants won't help you too much.
That's
so, like,
very true.
and, like, a big part of remaining happy is getting 8 hours of sleep,
Yeah.
eating
Health.
good meals.
Yeah.
Health is a huge part of
Yeah.
happiness.
Yeah.
Like, you can just
Yep.
tell you feel, like, way better if
Yeah.
you're
Feel
just
better about
sleeping
yourself.
and eating.
And exercising, too.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
exercise, yeah.
Like, not
Yeah.
even just, like, the fact that you feel better about yourself for being healthier, because you're like, oh, yeah, I'm being healthy.
Yeah.
This is good for me. But there's a reason it's good for you. It's
Yeah.
chemically good for you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it chemically helps
Right.
you
Also, like,
be healthier and happier.
right, like you're saying, like,
Schedule.
Everyone goes through depressive, like, or depression, like, you know, like, little patches in their life.
Everyone's life is
That's
a
just,
little wave.
right, life is a roller coaster. And that's the thing is, like, your brain chemicals, the way that they work isn't you can be happy all the time. That is
Yeah.
impossible. No one can be happy all the time. So, if you think about it, when you're sad, bro, your brain's just preparing to be happy as fuck. Like, that's how I think about it. It's like, if your brain is always going up and
taking
down
a
with
cool
your
down, you know?
chemicals, exactly, right. It's like, you need the down moments in your life
To
to appreciate the up moments. It's like shit like that.
Don't get me wrong, there
Um,
definitely are situations where, you know,
Yeah.
it is like people are clinically depressed
Right.
and they don't have those
Yeah.
up moments.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
they're prevented from even, you know,
Yep.
seeing them or anything.
Definitely.
And I
So-
think there is like a place for
Yeah.
medical assistance and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people, when they think they're depressed, I mean, you're just responding irrationally to your environment.
That's true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
like-
about noticing your environment,
Yep.
fixing what's causing you those problems,
Yeah.
or at least like if it's like another person is being problematic, having a conversation with them about
Mhm.
it or something.
Yeah.
Just like trying to fix the problem in your
For sure.
environment. And if it's not fixable,
Yep.
then maybe you do need some sort of other help from whether it's medical or otherwise.
Yeah. Well, so we're coming up on like 56 minutes right now. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, River, do you have anything to tell the people, like, wrapping up, just about, like, you know, anything life or whatever, any advice that you have for the folks?
Well, as one of my friends likes to say, stay easy.
Hell yeah. All right.
Yep.
That was episode 4. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're tuning out. Catch you later.
Yeah.
Adios.
Adios.